Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for another champion guide where today we are taking a look at the newly buffed Phoenix, whose update just came out this past week with the May patch. Now Phoenix is very good, she is incredibly fun to play, very easy to learn, and boasts some of the strongest sustain in the game right now. And best of all, you almost certainly already have her on your roster in one rarity or another. Now, before we get into the gameplay, let's go ahead and answer the question that is on everyone's mind right now, and that is, does buffed Phoenix need to be awakened? And I'm happy to report that from a damage perspective, the answer is no. However, she does have some very useful utility that is available right away, starting at Sig 1. So, we take a look at her signature ability here. I first want to point out that I've kept this Phoenix on the CCP server at Sig 1, and all of the gameplay that I'm going to show you in this guide is from a Sig 1 Phoenix. So while we were all able to get the 7-star version of Phoenix for free as of this recording, getting her dupe right away is going to cost money. It's actually very expensive. So for most players, the only reasonable way to get her awakened is to use a gem on her, and I want you to see exactly what you're going to get should you choose to use a gem on her. So the first part of her Sig here says that she has a 50% chance to start the fight with a Rite of the Phoenix charge, and this scales all the way up to 100% at max Sig. And this is the charge that gives her the immortality and the regen at the end of the fight when she's about to be knocked out, so obviously very helpful, right? It is worth noting here, however, that you can obtain a Rite of the Phoenix charge during the fight, even if she's unduped, by using the special 3. So you can kind of get this part of the Sig anyways, just via playing her. However, the other side of that is that we are going to talk in a little bit about how you kind of want to avoid using the special 3 altogether. Now, the second bullet point, I think, probably the most important piece of utility in my opinion, and it says that for each of her personal Fury buffs, the opponent's auto-block ability accuracy is reduced by 20%. So right away at Sig 1, you need 5 of her 9 possible Furies to reduce auto-block chance by 100%. And as you're going to see me demonstrate in just a little bit here, it is very easy to not only get 5 Furies, but also maintain them for the entire fight. Now at max Sig, this reduction becomes 35% per Fury, which means you only need 3 instead of 5. And while this does give the auto-block counter to her much faster, I think in most matchups you're going to find that it's probably not worth 199 Sig stones to get it that much faster. Now the last item in her Sig here is something pretty unique. I think it's going to make her one of the best questing options in the game. So when she starts a fight with exactly 60, 40, or 20% of her max health, she's going to gain a regen buff that heals an additional 20% over 30 seconds, and of course that will scale with recovery as well, so it's actually like 23% or so. Now, of course, those thresholds are exactly what revives heal you to, so if you're using her in a questing scenario, you're gaining a lot of extra health from her ability just for reviving her. And this scales all the way up to 40% health or 46% with recovery. So at max Sig, using a 40% revive is essentially healing her all the way up to 86%, and that is some really, really good value for your revive. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into the gameplay. Alright, the very first thing that you need to know about Phoenix is that similar to champs like America Chavez and Gladiator, charging her heavy during your basic combo will trigger a passive stun on the defender, and hers is going to last for 2.5 seconds. Now with Phoenix, you want to get into the habit of letting her heavy charge the entire way, and it's important to note here that she will release the heavy automatically before the passive stun ends, meaning you don't need to worry about timing it yourself. Charging her heavy is going to activate her flame aura, which will inflict incinerate debuffs on the defender, and these are going to stack up to 12. Releasing the heavy is going to inflict armor breaks. So notice here that the incinerates are doing basically no damage right now, but it is important that you keep stacking them up, and you'll see why in just a moment. So you want to repeat this basic combo into heavy loop until you have a bar of power, and then from there you want to use your special 1. You can either use it after the first hit of your heavy like I am here, or you can just combo into it normally. The special 1 is going to give you a Fury buff plus an extra Fury buff for every 5 incinerates. It's also going to grant you this special Echo buff, which we'll talk about in a second. Since her incinerates stack up to 12, that means that you can only get a maximum of 3 Furies per special 1. There's a hard cap of 9, which means you need 3 special 1s to fully ramp. However, you can consider the number of special 1s required in a fight directly related to the length of the fight itself. So for like a short fight like in Battlegrounds, 3 Furies probably going to be enough. 6 is good for like a war fight or for questing, and then for long fights, for Everest content, you really are going to want to max ramp at 9 Furies. Now, most of the fights that I'm going to show you here are going to be with 6 Furies, and I will show you what a long fight looks like with all 9 later on in the guide. From here, we're going to go ahead and build up to another special 1, and notice that when we use it, since we have that special echo buff active, the special 1 is going to grant us a power gain as well, making it easier to get to the next special attack after that. Once you've got enough Fury buffs, and again, in this fight we're going to stick with 6, you want to build up to your special 2. Notice that we've hit our stack limit of 12 incinerates, but as she's charging her heavy, the defender is now taking bursts of damage. And this is because applying an incinerate at max stacks also applies an instant incinerate with triple the potency. And this damage is going to scale with your Fury. So at max ramp, these instant incinerates are going to do some really nasty damage. The special 2 is going to activate that flame aura for an extended period of time, which is going to start triggering those instant incinerates as long as you're near the defender, even if you're not charging your heavy attack. In short and medium fights, the defender is probably going to be dead shortly thereafter. If not, go ahead and combo heavy charge as normal. Alright, let's go ahead and look at that fight in real time. So at the start of the fight here, basic combo into the heavy charge, and notice that we are letting the heavy charge fully complete on its own. That is stacking our incinerates, applying some armor breaks, doing the same thing here, canceling into the special 1, which is going to give us our first 3 Fury buffs and our special Echo buff. From here, rinse and repeat, do another special 1 here, which we'll get to in just a second. That special Echo buff will get us the power gain after the special 1, which will give us a head start on getting to our special 2 here. Also notice that we've hit the incinerate stack limit of 12, so as we charge the heavy and apply new incinerates, we are also bursting him down with instant incinerates here. Going to heavy charge here into the special 2, notice that really nice burst damage. Special 2 activates the flame aura without needing to charge the heavy, which is really great, so we are bursting him down anytime we are near him. One more combo into the heavy charge, and there you go. Pretty sure that was less than a minute. Alright, let's take a look at the rotation at a glance here. So to start the fight again, do your combos just like you would with Chavez or Gladiator or Dr. Doom with your basic hits and then charging your heavy attack. Very important with Phoenix to allow the heavy to fully finish on its own. That's going to give you the maximum stacks of incinerates while you're charging it. Also important to note that she will release the heavy on her own before the passive stun ends, so you don't have to worry about timing it yourself. From there, use your special 1. That's going to gain you up to 3 Fury buffs. If you've been fully charging your heavy up to this point, you should get 3 Fury buffs on your first special 1, and then you can maintain those by heavy charging, and you should have no problem getting 3 on your next one when you get to it. From there, repeat until you have the desired number of Furies, and again, 3 Furies probably enough for a short fight like Battlegrounds. For questing or for war, 6 Furies probably good, and then for long fights or Everest content, you definitely want to max ramp her at 9 Furies. Once you're at the number of Furies you need, use your special 2. That's going to activate the Flame Aura for an extended period of time. You can pause it by heavy charging, so make sure to continue doing your basic combos, fully charging that heavy attack. By now you will have hit the max stacks of incinerates, and you will be applying those instant incinerates with your aura active, which should be bursting the defender down pretty quickly. Remember, those incinerates have their potency increased by the Fury buff, so with 9 Furies they're going to be doing quite a bit of damage. From here, again, combo heavy charge to keep the aura paused, repeat the special 2 to reactivate that aura as needed. Now, before we get into the long fight rotation, let's talk for a moment about her special 3, because I mentioned early on in the video that you really want to avoid using it from a damage perspective if you can. Phoenix is a character with like uncontrollable levels of power, right? So trying to keep control of her power gain as a champion is one of the key parts of her kit. Now, the special 3 grants you that right of the Phoenix charge, which we talked about earlier, but it will also give you a regen buff, healing a percentage of health for every Fury and power gain buff that you had active when you used it. The cost of doing this, however, is that it consumes all of those buffs, which essentially resets her entire damage rotation. Now, there are two ways to avoid the special 3. The first is just to stick to 6 Fury buffs and spam your special 2 because the power gain is easily manageable at that point. Using a third special 1 to get your max Furies up at 9 is going to trigger power gains that will definitely push her to 3 bars of power. So if you simply just choose not to use a third special 1, then you're pretty much going to be in the clear. You are, of course, sacrificing a bit of damage because you're only having 6 Furies instead of 9. If you want to risk it for the biscuit, however, you can go with option 2. So if we scroll up here to the special echo section here, and notice that in this section it says that when you use a special attack with 3 special echo buffs, it is fully unblockable. So the idea here is that you use your third special 1 to gain your last 3 Furies, putting you at 9, trigger the power gain, and then you need to immediately use your special 2 before the power gain pushes you up to 3 bars. Now this does take a little bit of planning because there is enough time for the defender to use their special attack if they have a bar of power in between like your special 1 ending and you being able to like feverishly tap the special 2 button. So ideally what you want to do is bait a special to get the defender at low power, use your special 1 to trigger the power gain, wait for the power gain to push you above 2 bars, and then hit your special 2, which will be unblockable, and then you can kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and take a look at a long fight, and you'll kind of see what I mean. Okay, so here we're on the CCP beta server. We have the Star-Lord with over 1 million health that I'll be showing you how to manage the power gain properly with 9 Furies. So the start of the fight, pretty much the same as every other fight I've demonstrated in this video. Do your basic combos, allow your heavy to fully charge to get the maximum amount of incinerates, get those armor breaks placed, cancel into your special 1 that gives you your first 3 Furies and your first special echo buff. From here, continue to place new incinerates, which also places those instant incinerates. Fire off your second special 1, and then because you have that special echo, it's going to give you the power gain. We're already at a bar of power for our third special 1, so we're going to go ahead, charge heavy again, cancel into our third special 1, and now you can see our power gain shooting up there. He was standing still holding block, so I was able to just throw my special 2, which was unblockable. Now we have all 9 Furies. You can see the absolute insane burst damage that we're getting from the instant incinerates. It's over 5k per tick in instant incinerates. So aura has ended, so now we can go back in, continue to charge our aura. The Furies are indefinite, remember, as long as we don't hit our special 3. So our damage is fully ramped here, and we are just bursting him down with every single heavy attack, reapplying the Cosmic Flame Aura with our special 2 for the extended duration. And here we go, continue to burst him down, and I think one more combo or a couple bursts finish him down. Full yellow bar finish, 1 million health in roughly 80 seconds or so. Alright, real quick, let's cover the long fight rotation again. You start off the same way, basic combo into your heavy charge. Remember to allow the heavy to fully finish charging for the maximum amount of incinerates. Then you want to use your special 1 twice. That'll get you your 6 Furies. And then ideally you want the defender at low power before you use your third special 1 to get your last 3 Furies, bringing you up to 9. And then once you throw that special 1, you got to be ready for that power gain to hit. Then you want to use your special 2 before you hit 3 bars of power. It will be unblockable at that point if you've used 3 special 1s, so you can just YOLO it. But again, you ideally want the defender at low power so that they don't have a chance to use their special attack in between. And then combo heavy charge again, keep that aura paused, repeat with another special 2 as needed. Okay, I want to move on and talk for a little bit about her utility. I know that the fights that I used in this guide so far are all pretty vanilla. Nobody's placing a Star-Lord on defense right. I talked earlier about how easily she can counter auto block, so I do want to cover that first. Let's take a look at a fight against noted auto blocker Red Skull. And again, the Phoenix that I'm using here is only a Sig 1, which means we need 5 Furies to fully counter his auto block. And you're going to see just how easy it is to get there. And once we do, the auto block counter is essentially permanent for the rest of the fight, as long as we don't use our special 3 to consume those Furies. And probably best of all is that it doesn't significantly impact the fight time either, which is really important for you Battlegrounds players. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, so here we have a medium-sized Red Skull with just under 500,000 health points like you would find in War or perhaps a questing scenario. And what you're going to see me do here is rely more on heavy attacks. Remember that the heavy attack applies armor breaks, which is specifically good for fighting Red Skull. Also remember that her passive stun is unaffected by ability accuracy reduction, so against Red Skull in particular, it will always work. We've already got our first special one off, but we only have 3 buffs. We need 5 for a full auto block counter here. So we're going to wait out the auto block from his first special one, heavy counter him, parry heavy when we can. Now we are already at our second special one. We've got 6 Furies, full auto block counter activated, and we're good for the rest of the fight here. So we're going to go ahead, after his special one, go ahead and hit right into him. We're going to relic into the special 2, and actually we're going to end up pushing him to the special 2 here. And I do something a little risky, but it actually pays off. We're going to bait the special 2 here from him, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hit into him while he's unstoppable and trigger the passive stun while the unstoppable is still active, which is really nice there. So there we go. We triggered the passive stun, bursting him down here. Notice that our health is staying topped up. Don't worry about the auto block. No worries at all. And those incinerates deal the final couple of percentage points. Really, really fast fight. So a war-sized Red Skull again in about a minute or so. The last thing I want to say about the auto block is that since it's using ability accuracy to reduce the chance of an auto block, you can actually get that reduction above 100%. Actually, at max sig with 6 Furies, it can stack all the way up to a 210% reduction. So, on some nodes where defenders have increased ability accuracy, you'll still be able to turn off the auto block. But on the other side of that, something like the Force of Will node is going to hard counter her ability to turn off auto block. So you just have to be aware of that. Alright, the last thing I want to cover is a defender you may have heard of named Arnim Zola, and Phoenix is meant to be a pretty hard counter to him. She's got the passive stun for easy heavy knockdowns. She has class advantage to reduce his attack. Most of her damage is from those burst incinerates, which gets around his cowardice that he places on you. She can ramp faster by parrying his non-contact basic attacks, and she has a ton of regen available to recover a lot of the chip damage from doing that, and if you happen to take some SP2 disintegration damage as well. So here we have a Zola duel. I've got this rank 5 Ascended Zola. I actually don't have a 7-star Zola yet, and I'm using this 4-star Phoenix to simulate how well she's able to punch up in this situation. I've only been talking for, 10-15 seconds or so here, and we've already got him about a third of the way down, and you can see just how effortlessly she is able to handle him. Now you do have to shorten your combos a little bit and manage his power level because he gets access to those energized passives, but again, as long as you're charging your heavy attack for the full time, you're maximizing those instant incinerates, and you don't really need to full combo into him because most of your damage is coming from those bursts, like I said a second ago. So we went ahead with 6 Furies only, going to cancel into the special 2 to give us our extended aura, and pretty much he's already done at this point. We can just beta heavy to prevent him from throwing a special 2, and down he goes. About a minute or so, punching up 2 whole rarities. Pretty good. Folks, that's going to do it for another champion guide, and I sincerely hope it was helpful to you. If it was, you can help me right back by sharing this video with your friends and your alliance mates, and I'd ask that you please press the like button to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel because I really do think you're going to like it here. Now, if you've made it this far into the video, please leave me a comment below that says, "I am the fire," and as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.